For years, the default way to look at Bitcoin has been as a flat financial ledger of balances, a brand, or a stock chart. An emerging framework treats this same data as a physical, discovered environment, a terrain waiting to be explored. Digital matter theory provides the language to map this environment. Instead of writing new token stories and pasting them onto the network, it searches the existing structure for digital materials. This map shows the base layer. Raw data packets enter a shared mempool cloud, filter through validation gates, and order into sequenced blocks. Notice how they lock together sequentially. Luminous lines connect each block header to the previous output. Inside a single block, a branching tree-like structure condenses multiple transaction nodes into a single glowing root hash. This mathematical proof anchors every specific transaction to the main chain. This layering of fixed block sequence and internal tree structure creates something Bitcoin didn't originally emphasize: absolute position. Because every bit of data is now locked to a specific block height and a specific branch, the ledger begins to transform from a simple list into a stable, addressable volume of coordinates. Because this cryptography renders the data unchangeable, it ceases to behave like mere information. It becomes a reliable landscape ready to be mapped. In the physical world, information requires energy and a rigid substrate to behave like matter. Standard crypto tokens derive their metadata arbitrarily from a founder's preference. Digital matter theory objects pull their meaning directly from strict, measurable constraints. This schematic of a Bitcoin block header highlights those exact constraints. Fields like the nonce, the timestamp, and the difficulty bits serve as the tangible boundaries of this substrate. Finding a valid nonce requires massive computational effort. Hash streams constantly cycle through brute force search patterns until the correct mathematical solution is discovered. The moment a miner finds that solution, a successful signal triggers verification pulses that race through a peer-to-peer network to reach final settlement. That final settlement locks the discovered data permanently into the ledger. Producing this specific digital object required a genuine expenditure of time, energy, and computational competition. Proof of work operates as a physical engine. By forcing computational competition, it anchors non-arbitrary digital matter to a tangible, real-world cost. The physical periodic table did not invent oxygen or carbon. It provided a structural map for understanding elements that were already present in nature. Applying this logic to the Bitcoin blockchain suggests its raw data contains discoverable elements rather than artificial constructs. This digital periodic table sorts Bitcoin objects by height and mathematical rarity. Cells expand to reveal Bitmap, treating block history as spatial coordinates. From these maps, glowing data lattices emerge. These non-arbitrary tokens derive structural traits strictly from block data. Using this periodic table framework shifts how we interact with the network. The culture moves away from artificially minting assets out of thin air and toward methodically discovering underlying structure. Early experiments in any new category are loud and chaotic. Yet beneath the noise, a foundational language is taking shape. We can define this language as digital substance. These are objects possessing permanent origin, strict position, and immutable rules that exist entirely independently of any marketplace pricing. This diagram contrasts the two environments. On one side, standard digital systems rely on fragile, shifting server stacks with reversible states. On the other side, Bitcoin maintains a rigidly ordered timeline of locked confirmations and shared memory. The user culture is adapting to this difference. For years, audiences were trained to ask what a founder's roadmap promised. Now, they are learning to ask what patterns are already embedded in the chain. Digital elements are clearly not chemical elements, but a permanently ordered, immutable history functions as a true physical substrate. Digital matter theory operates strictly as a map of constraints and coordinates across this vast terrain. It is a navigational tool, not a financial signal dictating what to buy or chase. Now that the internet possesses a permanent, energy-backed ledger, the next profound technological primitive will not be launched by a company. It will be found buried in the chain.